The travel industry was one of the hardest hit by the pandemic. With vaccines finally rolling out, cruise operators, airlines, and more are poised to make a comeback. Virtuoso CEO Matthew Upchurch joins us now. Matthew, thanks so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Can you put some numbers on this? We all know that travel was hurt, but let us know quite how bad it was.
Yeah, I don't think people fully understand the size and scope of the industry because it's not always aggregated appropriately. But globally, it's a little over 10% of the GDP, 330 million jobs globally. And right now, we're on track to lose 174 million jobs by the end of this year. And a lot of people think of travel as just, Jamaica or those places, but we actually don't understand here in the US that there's almost 60 million jobs. At the height of the Great Depression, 25.5% unemployment. We're at 50% of direct jobs, 75% of direct jobs, and 50% of direct and indirect employment being affected here in the United States alone.
That is
so
awful.
It's massive.
But the good news is you are seeing a bounce back already. Who's coming back the fastest?
Yeah, it's been amazing. The vaccine has really changed people's psyche from the perspective of starting to have inquiries. Nothing changes consumer behavior like having something taken away from you that you took for granted. And so we're seeing a lot of that. And I think what you're going to see is leisure is going to come back. Leisure travel is going to come back faster than business travel for a lot of reasons. Never in the history of the planet have we ever had 5 generations of people, from the baby boomers that will have a tremendous amount of time affluence, all the way to the millennials and Gen Zs who have traded goods for experiences. So you're seeing a lot of that. We've had a lot of really good domestic and regional travel, and luxury travel particularly is going to come back fast.
So if you want to go, I guess you've got to book soon. Carlton, this trend will help airlines, and Barron's writer Lawrence Strauss thinks Ryanair in particular is poised to benefit.
Yeah, so he's looking at that. And when it comes to looking at the airlines, it's not just the reopening play. He's also looking at the long-term prospects. So Ryanair is Europe's low-cost leader, and basically it's been adding back its capacity faster than rivals. And as travel picks up in Europe, that airline is really poised to, I don't want to say this, but fly.
So Jack, I'm not really in a hurry to get on a cruise ship right at this moment. But apparently Barron's thinks that Norwegian will be the beneficiary as people do start to get back.
Yeah, I'm with you. It could be years before the group gets back to its former profitability. But if you want to make a contrarian investment in cruise lines, our colleague Lawrence at Barron's says Norwegian is the one. It has more of a luxury skew, and that's good right now. It also has smaller ships. When the time comes when people want to go back to cruising, they might prefer to go back to ships with 1,000 beds rather than, let's say, 5,000 beds. The company has said recently that bookings have been pretty strong, so that's good. The stock sells for less than half what it did before the pandemic. But again, you got to patiently wait for those profits to bounce back, maybe over a few years.
Matthew, what are you seeing in terms of cruise line bookings?
Well, I totally agree. And actually, this has been the tale of 2 different consumers, those that have cruised before and those that haven't. So with all the sensationalist press that the cruise industry got, the reality is that those people that have cruised before, for example, NCLH owns Regent Cruise Line, their world cruise for 2022-23 sold out in 48 hours. There's a huge amount of pent-up demand because the millions of people that know this category actually are very bullish on it. And our forward bookings have actually been quite strong, if not stronger than they were coming into 2020.
Wow. So one interesting thing, though, Ben, is that it's not just the luxury brands that we think can do well. Caesars in Las Vegas is a Barron's pick.
That's right. I mean, Caesars is, we've talked about the pent-up demand. It's going to benefit from that. It has its casinos in Las Vegas, has casinos elsewhere. What's helped it during the pandemic has been its online gaming. That's been a big boost. But I think what people underestimate is just the cost savings that companies are going to have coming out of the crisis. Just think about the buffet at any casino. Those things are expensive, they are wasteful, and they're not going to be back the way that they were before. And that's going to help margins at casino companies. And I think that's what's going to provide the next leg up of growth for these kind of stocks.
If the NSA made a sneeze guard out of Kevlar, I don't think I'd go to a buffet, but that's an interesting pick. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Matthew, for joining us.